actually have a question for you. I have a scenario to pose to you and see how you would have handled it.
Okay.
Okay. So say you're making a smoothie for breakfast. You just made a smoothie for breakfast. You got all the ingredients. You put them in your little bullet blender and you blended them up. You just finished it, and then just by a freak accident,
oh boy,
you accidentally dripped a bunch of dishwater on the very top of the smoothie.
Okay.
What do you do next?
Is it just on the very top?
Yeah.
I skim it off with a...
Oh my god! Okay. So yeah, I just reached into the top of the smoothie and grabbed about an inch and just like slopped it out into the sink. And then but I could still, and I don't have a stomachache. Like, I'm not sick.
Yeah.
But I swear I could smell dishwater the entire time I was drinking the smoothie. At one point, I was like, this has to be in my head, because I was like I was like very intentionally sniffing different parts, and it's like, no, this doesn't smell like dishwater. This doesn't smell like dishwater. But then I'd go to drink again and I'd be like, I smell dishwater. So I think at some point it was just in my head.
Maybe. I mean, dish soap is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even if you skim it off skim it off the top of the smoothie, there might still have been, because it's bubbly, right? It spreads really quick. First of all, how did this happen?
This is even worse. It wasn't just like soapy dishwater. It was the water that was like stuck in the scrub brush on my sink.
What?
Like I picked up the scrub brush on my sink, and granted, I had just used this scrub brush like 5 minutes prior, so it's not like this is 2-day-old dishwater. But I picked up the scrub brush, and the water dripped out right on top of my smoothie.
I'm still gonna say that I would skim it off.
You would have skimmed, okay?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna. I mean, smoothies are expensive to make, man.
Yeah,
I'm not,
yeah.
You know.
And I go out and I buy frozen fruit or regular fruit, and I freeze it, and but there's so many ingredients in a smoothie that you start thinking about it, and you're like, okay, even if I'm doing this the cheapest possible way, each smoothie that I make probably costs me $2 to $3.
Yeah, they're not cheap because of the produce.
Not cheap. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not gonna just throw away this smoothie because of some dishwater. And then I kept thinking, I was like justifying in my head too. I was like, well, I washed it with dishwater.
Let's be honest. We've all drank some dishwater in our times.
We've definitely all drank, even if it was just reconstituted dishwater. Like
exactly.
You wash something with dishwater, it doesn't totally dry it. The solids harden on the glass. Then you fill the glass up with water later and drink it. You just drank some dishwater.
Yeah, I just drank some paint water not long ago, and I'm fine.
Oh no! Did you do the thing where you had a paint cup and a water cup next to each other?
Oh yeah, all the time. Sometimes I don't even have another cup next to me. Sometimes it's just the paint water, and I drink it anyway. I don't even confuse, and I'm just like, oh, water.
Sometimes you do it on purpose. Sometimes that's just sometimes that's just a Friday night for you.
To see if I turn into a Jekyll Hyde situation by drinking this paint water.
There's not turpentine in it or anything, is there?
No, okay. There's not. No, I've been using acrylic, so no, there's no turpentine. Then there would be a problem.
Yeah, I think that would cause a problem.
I'm sorry, was there a moral to this story or a point to this story?
Yeah, the moral and the point is it's okay to drink dishwater.
And paint water.
Drink whatever water you find. Stay hydrated, kids.
Stay hydrated.
About adventure games. I'm Matt Ockamp. And with me
What?
here is Pushing Up Roses.
Oh, hi.
What confused you?
That you're mad off camp. I'm sorry, guys, I'm allergic to my perfume, and it's making me a little delirious.
So you forgot who I was.
Just
You're like,
forgot, yeah.
oh,
What?
I thought I was doing this podcast with Ted Danson.
Or Steve Guttenberg,
or Tom
Tom
Selleck.
Selleck. Yeah, one of the other.
Anyone from
any
Three
of
Men
those.
and a Baby.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, how are you doing today, Pushing Up
Doing
Roses?
pretty good, Matt Ocamp. I'm excited to talk to you guys about the game that I've been playing.
Oh, what have you been playing?
Oh, are we just doing this? All right, let's just do this.
Yeah, roll in.
Roll in. All of last night, I streamed a very large chunk of the Crimson Diamond. Very large chunk. And then afterwards, I decided to, because it got really late for streaming. I got a little tired, but I wanted to. I'm reviewing this game. I'm going to be doing a video review. So I wanted to get more into it. So I played just like a couple hours more. Okay. I loved it. I love it. I love this game. There's a lot I want to say about it.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Where are you up to?
I am like nearing the end. So I played, like I said, I played a lot of it, and Julia came to my stream yesterday and she's like, "You're doing so good." And I'm like, I try. Like I consider myself a pretty good adventure game player at this point. So I think I'm almost at chapter 6, and there are 7 chapters. Wow. So I am very close to the end. I really, really like it. There's so many improvements since the demo. I love that she gives you, so there's always a notebook in these Laura Bow games, and the Laura Bow games is what the Crimson Diamond is based off of. We already discussed that. We're not going to talk about it again. But there's always a notebook in the Laura Bow games, and sometimes it's useful and sometimes it is not. And I think that this is the most useful way that a notebook has been used in like a murder mystery game,
Oh, definitely. I just got to chapter 4.
Oh, great.
So I just experienced and I don't think this is a spoiler, because I think if you're playing a mystery game, this is going to happen. I just got to the first death.
Okay. And what did you think? How did you find that? Because I found, even though this is very inspired by the Colonel's Bequest, it does not follow the same structure as the murders in the Colonel's Bequest or Dagger. It doesn't follow that structure. It has its own structure and its own kind of point of view.
Yeah, I think that it was shocking, because there was a moment where I was like, there was a moment where I started to doubt it, right? There was a moment where I was like, are there going to be murders, or are these other weird things that are happening just going to be the mystery?
Yeah,
same. And then when the murder happened, I was like, well, of course there was going to be murders. That was silly to think, but it was still surprising. And I don't know that I got to know that character as much as I wanted to know them.
That's for sure. I do find that it's easier to talk to these characters versus the Colonel's Bequest, because Colonel's Bequest is very long-winded. I think in these modern games, indie devs try to make their games a little more terse, a little more concise, and it is. But I did find, if I was gonna put a con out there, which I will talk about more in my video, it's that I didn't get to know the characters as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's both a good and a bad thing, because for those people who don't want to sit and just read scads of dialogue for like 500 years,
right?
It's I don't know. I guess because there is a game that you can compare this to very easily, which is Kernels, and the temptation is to compare it to that.
Right.
But it is its own identity. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, you're right. I did want to get to know the characters more. And I'm over that now. Like I'm very close to the end. So there's not, I think the difference is in a lot of murder mystery games, or just murder mystery in general, the characters always have a lot of quirks and a lot of secrets. And I find that this game didn't have that. It was very, I don't know if you feel this way, but it's very obvious who did the crimes. it's obvious what the motivations are, and nobody has, like, secrets, you know what I mean? At least not big ones, not like in Colonel's Bequest where
Mhm.
literally every person had some kinda weird secret going on, you know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't started to solve anything yet, so I
Mhm.
think it's going to be obvious, but I mean, it could be throwing me.
Could
Um,
be, yeah.
I also like, I like finding the deaths. I've only
Okay.
found one so far, but now I'm like, once it happened, I was like, oh, I gotta go find all these deaths.
Right, right. So it does differ from Colonel's Bequest in that way.
Mhm.
There's not any, like, weird, strange deaths, I would say, but there are I mean, I'm not at the end yet, so
Right.
I haven't figured out everything yet, but, um, it is a little more grounded, which is interesting because a lot of the screens very much resemble Colonel's Bequest. You can see the inspiration,
Mhm.
and I kept thinking in my mind, I kept putting bodies in weird places, right? Even though the
Right.
game doesn't really do that. So there's like a gazebo. I kept imagining a body in the
Well,
gazebo, and
oh,
stuff like that.
I meant Nancy's deaths. I meant Nancy
Oh,
dying.
Nancy deaths. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
fun. Yeah, no, I agree. I like that the game kind of urges you to be careful. Gives you one warning, man. It gives you one
Yes.
warning,
Yeah. And
and then you're on
it's
your own.
they're obvious warnings too. Like
Yeah, they're obvious.
you're not going to die by something that's completely out of left field. Uh I you know what, I was just thinking about what we were just talking about getting to know the characters, and I think my issue with it is just that I think what's or I don't even know if this is an issue. This is just what's
Mhm,
contributing to it
mhm.
is that the characters aren't being particularly active.
Sure, sure.
Like all the getting to know them happens just by talking.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think at least this one character who's dead so far, I didn't see them do much of anything.
Right.
uh, so I don't know. So like, while I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna like this character, they didn't actually do anything to fully endear me to them.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I
I
think
would
maybe
agree
if
with
I
that.
just yeah, maybe if I'd just seen them in another room, or I don't know, like as simple as that sounds, just
Yeah.
um
No, I hear that because like in Kernels, a lot of and Dagger, obviously the characters are moving about all
mhm,
over the place. And there is that in this game. Characters do things change, scenes change is one of the charms of this kind of game. Um, but yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. Although I will say I love the investigative parts of this game
mhm.
way more than what it is inspired from. It does a much better job, I think, making like realistic, like
Yeah,
lifting fingerprints and like comparing footprints and stuff like that, and writing down things in your notebook even, and having
right.
objectives. Yeah, I
I
found that really charming and fun.
So and I want to say I love this game. I'm really really enjoying it. I'm gonna play all of it. I am excited. I keep being excited to go back to it. Um, the art is beautiful. The music's great. The writing's incredible. Uh, so any criticisms I have are in the context of this game rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I do wish the investigation. So there's a point where you do have to compare fingerprints, and you do it by typing "compare fingerprints," and
Yes.
then Nancy does it. And I wish that we had had some sort of UI that
Oh,
showed
okay.
us all the fingerprints, and we could have compared the fingerprints. I thought that's where it was going.
Man, I did
And
not want that. Fuck that. That's
I
very much a Matt thing. It's
yeah, I
just
would just
for me.
rather be doing the detective work
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not what this game is going for, I guess.
No.
So I just have to take it as it's worth. Did you get stuck on any puzzles yet?
No, not really. Julia kind of nudged me in the right direction just for time's sake, but I would say that I these are not puzzles that I get stuck on.
To
No.
find one particular fingerprint?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. There's one particular fingerprint I had trouble with.
Okay.
There's one particular fingerprint that is very complex compared to the other ones,
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking
and
about.
I didn't
Honestly,
find the necessary item
Yeah.
Like, I knew from the beginning, "Oh, this is where I find the fingerprint."
Yeah.
But I did not find the necessary item, uh,
I got you.
so I was walking around and she was saying like, "Oh, there's a fingerprint here. If only I could dot dot dot."
Yeah.
And I was trying all sorts of stuff and I was like, "I cannot figure it out." And I did have to look at a walkthrough and all it
Okay.
said was like one word. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, of course." And then I found that and then everything else came naturally.
And they came
But
naturally. Yeah. Yeah, no, I did pretty well, I think. Just because these are the puzzles that I kind of live for. These are the puzzles that are my favorite type of puzzle.
right.
They're like ingrained in my mind, so I have like this intuition on how to, I guess, how to do them. So I haven't gotten fully stuck yet, but I did do something that pissed me off early on. Just like in the Lorabo games, like curio cabinets and armoires, they get broken into.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I didn't look in the one in my room. My room, the cabinet in my
Yeah.
room is the only one I didn't look at. And I was like, no. And it's, you don't lose or anything. The game doesn't punish you like that for not doing it. But I was like, I can't. It was like way too late to go back. Like I'm in it now. There's no
And have
way.
seen what was already in there, you mean, before that gets broken into?
I had not looked at it, so Nancy didn't know what was in there.
Oh,
Which comes
okay.
back later, I guess, I assume. Because
Interesting.
she even gives you a little note. She's just like, "Huh, I wonder what was in there. I wonder if I should have looked in there." I'm like, "Ow!" I also really appreciate, before we, like, move on to what even unless what you've also been playing is, Crimson Diamond.
I have, but I have
Um,
other stuff to yeah.
okay, cool. So, another thing I really liked about the game is it, it's not punishing the way these older games are,
Right.
but if you miss something, you are kind of encouraged to go back and redo it. So I had accidentally walked into some people and it disturbed them and I wanted to eavesdrop on them. Uh
Okay.
so you can let it go if you want. You're not necessarily going to lose, but I definitely wanted to know that information, so I came at it from a different way. I went at it
Right.
at a different screen. And I think that's great. I think it's great that she kept those things about what was infuriating but also charming about the Colonel's
Yeah.
Bequest is like missing things, but she gives you that note. She's like, "Hey, maybe come at it a different way." And I'm like,
Right.
"Yes, I will do that." And you don't have to. You don't have to correct anything if you don't want to. But I definitely did.
I also really like the geology segments of
Yeah,
the
I
game.
do too.
I
Yeah.
like doing geology.
No, that was
Yeah.
great. It reminded me of being in my earth science class with the igneous
Right.
rock and the glacial erratic. I'm like, man,
Same. I just took an earth science class like early this year. And so
nice.
yeah, she was talking about like intrusive igneous rock and I was like,
Yep.
I know exactly what that means.
Awesome. But anyway, I don't want to get
Yeah.
too much more into it because I will be doing a very comprehensive review on this game. But
Yeah.
I want to encourage you to pick it up. It's really good. It is definitely a passion project. It took a very long time to develop, and I'm so happy for Julia for getting it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hooray! Hooray
Hooray,
for the Crimson
Julia!
Diamond.
What else have you been besides that? What else have you been playing?
Okay, there's two things that I played a little bit of that I'm gonna save for our ridiculous segment just
Oh boy.
as an update. But I'll say I finished Lamplight City and it was really good.
Mhm.
Um I don't know what else to say about it. It's just it is
Great.
earned its title as a modern classic. It was good the entire way through.
Very nice.
The final mystery brought and I don't know if you knew this. In Lamplight City, you solve multiple mysteries in a row.
Mhm. Okay.
You have like 4 or 5 cases that you solve in a row, and the last one sort of brings a bunch of disparate elements together.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was really satisfying.
Nice.
And the other game that the other game that I played is we talked about it, and I have to say, it's not an adventure game, unfortunately.
Oh no, what is
Is
it?
ToeJam and Earl.
Oh, you don't think it's an adventure game?
I went back and played it. I played it,
What the
and
heck is it?
I played it the whole way through. I think it's more like a dungeon crawler, but dressed up in its own special way. Because you can fight things, but
Yeah.
mostly you're trying to avoid the bad
You're trying to
guys.
avoid them, yeah.
But it's like a roguelike. Like, it's like each level is procedurally generated, and you have to wander around avoiding enemies and finding power-ups to
Yeah.
better, like, navigate the space and defend yourself from the enemies. And you go through about 25 dungeon levels
Yeah.
and find the rocket pieces until you assemble your rocket, and then you go. There's no puzzles. There's no there is
It's just so
exploration,
weird
but
though
there's no
because
story. Yeah.
there's so much exploration and so much of this like strange
Yeah.
kind of old style map, right? I don't know. It feels adventure-y even if it's not an adventure game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you, like we said last episode, you're going on an adventure when you're playing ToeJam and Earl, but I think it really struck me this time in a way that I never thought of when I was a kid because I didn't know what this
Nice.
meant, but that it was just a roguelike, right? Like
Yeah.
it is exactly if you took any dungeon crawler and replaced the monsters with like weird dudes mowing the lawn or
Yeah.
Santa Claus or moles stealing your stuff, and you replaced the dungeon walls with grass and open sky.
Yeah.
You just have what ToeJam and Earl is.
That's
And then I
fair.
played a little bit of ToeJam and Earl 2, that platformer you were talking
It's
about.
fun, right?
It's
fun.
silly. I don't
It's
think I'm
silly.
gonna beat that one. Like, I'm not gonna get all the way through it because it's just not good enough. But it's fun to play for like half an hour.
I know, and that's kind of how I found it at like the bar. It's like somebody was chipping away at it a bit and
Yeah,
gave up, and I'm like, I'll take over.
yeah,
I'll chip a
yeah.
little bit more, see what we can do.
And in that game, you're still on your alien planet. Because
Mhm.
in ToeJam and Earl, you are on Earth trying to get back to your alien planet by putting together what do you call it, a spaceship.
A
But then
spaceship, yeah.
in the second one, you were on your planet and a bunch of Earthlings showed up, and you have to capture them in jars and throw them in a sack, and then launch them in a spaceship back to Earth. And it's really funny because at the end of each level, there's a guy. It's a different guy every level, I think, and he says like, whoever you are, ToeJam or Earl, he's like, "Hey, you found all the Earthlings yet?" And
Yeah.
the guy
Yeah,
just
yeah, that's right.
automatically says yes. And then he's like,
He does. He's like, "Well, what about that one?" It's like, "Oh, I didn't get that one."
yeah, yeah, it's so good. You're just
It's
like
pretty
Earl,
funny.
and he's like, "Hey, did you find all the Earthlings yet?" And he's like, "Yup." And he's
Yup.
like, "All right, well, what about that one guy?" He's like, "Nope, didn't get him." All right,
No.
maybe you should get him. And then you just go back and look for the. It's very silly and very fun. And did you
Yeah.
know that they released a ToeJam and Earl sequel called Back in the Groove in
Uh,
2019?
yes. Like, yes, I vaguely do remember this.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks.
but it didn't really do well.
Uh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it didn't because I didn't hear too much about it.
Yeah.
But it looks just like it looks very, very much like ToeJam and Earl with some like added stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, that's ToeJam and Earl. That's what I've been playing.
Nice.
And for the rest of what I've been playing, you're gonna need to hit a theme
Oh,
song.
man. Here it comes. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? I assume you all said yes. Here we go.
They all said
Theme?
yes.
Yeah, they all said yes. Theme B.
All right, everybody, it's Playdate with Matt. It's a segment inside the podcast Save the Game. I'm your host, Matt Ockham. Along with this
Playdate with
journey
Matt
is Pushing Up Roses.
I'm here too. Hi.
Today, I want to talk about some games I've been playing on the Playdate. Okay, so I said I would talk about 2 games per episode. Both of these are tied together. So I've been playing these cute little adventure games I know there are serious and interesting adventure games on the Playdate, but so far all I've been playing are cute little dumb games.
That's cute.
But I'll get into like more interesting ones in the future. But I've been playing these games. I played a game called Life's Too Short.
I'm gonna look it up. Life's.
Yeah. And
are you sure that's not a game from our segment, from our other segment?
What this game is, you're an adorable little pixel ghost, and that's who it's by. It's by a company called Pixel Ghost, and you're just this little pixel ghost who is walking around, floating around a haunted house, and you keep running into like monsters who each have a problem. Like you find a witch stuck in a painting who has a cough, and you gotta get her some medicine. And you find like a snake who's hungry, so you gotta get him some bats. You find a vegan.
These are first world problems.
You find a vegan vampire, and you gotta get him a Bloody Mary. You get it, and then you find his non-vegan wife, and you gotta get her some blood, but in the most disturbing way possible, and I won't spoil it, but it sucks.
No.
But the game is just sweet and cute. Again, you're just a little ghost going around a haunted house helping monsters.
I love that. I love that. That's so sweet.
Just a very sweet, cute little point and click adventure. Most of it feels very fetch questy more than it does puzzly, but it's still cute, and there were a couple things that I would consider puzzles in it.
Yeah. I mean, I love a fetch quest, though.
You do love a fetch quest.
Yeah.
And then the second game I played was called... So there's a bunch of these, and I played another Life's Too Short game called On Reflection. And you are in a tower in which an evil mirror has been mean to everybody. And so now everybody in the tower has body image issues.
So you this is like my worst nightmare. This is like body dysmorphic disorder. So it's about me.
You have to walk around finding the exact thing that's going to make these people feel better about themselves. And each of them have a shard of the mirror, and once you put it all together, the mirror, something happens, right? Like the solution presents itself.
That's so cute.
The last thing you do in the game, and this is, I guess, spoiler territory, but the last thing you do in the game is you have to go around telling everybody they are enough.
Oh my god!
And then you get to leave the tower. And it's just so sweet. Again, you're just this really positive, sweet little pixel ghost walking around a tower telling everybody that they're doing fine and they're enough.
I love that so much.
It's very sweet. It's so good. So that's Life's Too Short and Life's Too Short On Reflection.
I love it. So are we back to theme B?
yeah, back to theme B.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna ramp it up every single time. Theme B.
We don't.
Playdate with Matt.
So that was Playdate with Matt.
Oh man, I gotta come up with my own segment. It's gonna be terrible.
So today, dear listeners, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to take a break from adventure games for a minute.
Yes.
I say a minute, probably like 45 minutes.
Probably 45 like minutes is a break. Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some non-adventure games that we have loved throughout our life. What do we play when we're not playing adventure games? So I want to see that Spanky on my chinos.
Nope. I don't like where it's going. Don't like that. everyone, welcome back to Save Your Game. I'm your host, Pushing Up Roses. With me, as always, my special boy co-host, Matt Ockamp.
Hey!
Hey! How was your break?
Oh, it's good. I just kind of... Oh, you know what actually I did? I was playing my PlayDate, because you had to step away for a bit. And so I was playing a little... I was playing a little surfing game on my PlayDate.
Oh, that's so... Oh, Matt and his PlayDate. That's so cute. I just imagine you, like, taking your PlayDate everywhere with you now.
Yeah. I'm at a bar, and I'm on my PlayDate. I'm at the beach, and I'm turning my little crank.
You're on a date, and you have the PlayDate. It's a problem.
Yeah. You just have to... I'm at the gym lifting weights, but I have the crank in my mouth, and I'm like swinging the thing around.
Gotta help these monsters with their body image. That's great.
I'm just kidding. Yes. I don't go to the gym.
So we talk about a lot of adventure games. This is an adventure game podcast, but you know what? Sometimes you just need a break, and there are more to us. We're composed of many facets.
We contain multitudes.
And we like more than just adventure games. And some people might know that if you followed my channel for a while. I do a lot of DOS games in general.
You like Murder, She Wrote, and I like the X-Men.
Yes.
The end.
But that's not...
All right, well, that was a good segment. And
no.
Now... Oh, okay.
I just started playing Theme B again.
I have to really quick play 2 Playdate games so that I have something to talk about. Hold on.
Oh, the segment's back. It's returning. No, so we're not going to be talking about... We're still going to be talking about games, I think, right? Okay, good. I was just like, are we on the same page? Am I talking about Murder, She Wrote today? Because I'll do it.
I tricked you. No, please don't.
Tricky. Yeah, no, we're going to be talking about our favorite non-adventure games. So I think what we should do is we know each other very well. We're very close friends. We pretty much know each other's gaming interests and gaming loves, but if you were to just throw out a guess as to what one of my all-time favorite non-adventure games is, what would you guess?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I know you like retro arcade games a lot. Like I know you are into like Aladdin and like the Sega games.
Yeah, I was big into the Genesis,
But I have a feeling that's not where you're going with this. I have a feeling that, well, maybe. I would bet you are a big Tetris person.
You're so wrong.
Ah, fuck.
Further. You cannot be further from the truth. I hate Tetris.
Whoa, really? Okay.
I hate it because it's logical.
Oh, I guess it is, huh?
It is, yeah.
I don't think about it that way. I think about it as a reflex game.
You were so good, starting with the Genesis, because I'm a big. And so some people don't.
And then I was like, I don't want to take the obvious route. Anybody could have guessed a Genesis game, but here I'm going to guess something completely out of left field. And I was totally wrong.
I will give you a major hint. One of my favorite games of all time is on the N64.
Okay. I know you consider these Zelda games to be adventure games, so I imagine those are not in this segment.
So it's you can assume that it's not a Zelda game.
I'm just gonna say Super Mario 64.
You're pretty close. And I do love that game, and I hold that game.
Oh, Banjo Kazooey.
Yep, you got it. It's Banjo Kazooey.
Yeah,
Banjo Kazooey has consistently.
I knew that about you,
and
I
favorites.
Completely blanked on it. Okay.
Yeah, what people may or may not know, my close friends certainly do. I love platforming and side-scrolling games. I love getting good at them. Like Matt said, Aladdin for the Genesis. That's one of my favorite games. I did a no-death run at MagFest one year, and everyone's like, oh my God. Okay, maybe they weren't like that, but in my head, they're like, oh my God, it's so good at Aladdin. And I love a lot of different genres of games, but when I was little, on top of having a computer, I also wanted a Genesis, and then I very much wanted an N64.
Yeah.
So I played those games that came with it.
Now, tell me about Banjo Kazooey. That's actually a game I've never played. So what is the appeal?
I think for me, the appeal was it's sort of open worldy. It is a platformer, but it's got this lovely open world with these goofy, adorable characters. You're playing a bear and a bird.
Yeah,
They're very cute. And the story is it's very childlike, but at the same time, adults, you can play. I still play this game every year. And I think for me, one of the biggest thing is, I like platformers and I like the collectathon aspect. And there is a lot of collectathon aspects to Banjo Kazooey. The music is charming. The NPCs, so cute. I always was so excited to go to the next world, the next level. Because all the levels are their own separate worlds.
Yeah.
And they're just so fun. I was just always so excited to lose myself in these worlds.
Did you like other cute platformers of the era? Like, did you like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro or?
No, I guess I didn't. I didn't really play those. I think those were PlayStation games, but I really loved everything that was like for the N64. So I love Mario 64. I can play that with my eyes closed.
And you played so much Glover that you
played so much Glover. Game fucking sucks. Why am I a glove on a ball?
You played this Frogger, the 3D Frogger.
I did not. Of course, I loved Zelda.
Yeah, of course.
But I also loved all the weirdo games that came out on the N64. So there was Wave Race, which is like a really early N64 game, and it's just a Wave Runner racing game, and I was obsessed. I loved that game.
I played one of those for the PlayStation. I do not remember the name of it. Let's see if just a quick Google search can bring it up. Jet Moto. Okay. You were doing like motocross on hover bikes on water.
Oh, wonderful. It sounds fun, actually.
But you also had these laser grappling hooks that would help propel you around turns. Very strange.
No, Wave Race was a little more grounded than that. You're just on a wave runner and you're just racing people. And one of my favorite things to do was to go to Blockbuster with my dad, because we didn't, I couldn't just always afford to buy a $60 N64 game. So I'd rent for a little while, and I would rent like these insane games like Snowboard Kids.
What? Snowboard Kids?
Snowboard Kids, the classic Snowboard Kids. Yeah, it's literally you're just racing down like a mountain on a snowboard. And I played like Star Fox and all that. But Banjo Kazooey and Mario 64 are high up there. Also is Super Mario World. Growing up, I didn't have a Super Nintendo, but my aunt did, and I would go to her house pretty frequently. And she only had a few games. She had like fucking Tetris, so I'm like not gonna play that, obviously. She had Tetris. She had Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is one of the hardest games ever.
That game is
ever
ridiculous.
Developed. It's ridiculous. And of course, it came with Super Mario World. And man, I know that game very well. I love that game. I love all the secrets. It was like my first real experience, like completing a Mario game. So that's one of my favorites.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, now you guess one of mine.
Okay. It's definitely gonna be.
All right, we got a definite here.
Sonic Spinball.
No way. Absolutely not.
Way. Is it going to be a PlayStation game? Did you like the PlayStation era?
I had a PlayStation, but those aren't the games that really stick with me, to be honest.
Okay, is it Tetris?
No, but that's very close to one of the games that I go back to all of the time. Is very, very close to Tetris.
Oh. What console was it for? Maybe you can guess it.
Any Nintendo console.
Any Nintendo console. Okay.
I think it has been released for every Nintendo console.
Oh shit. I'm like totally blank. What is it? I'm totally blanking.
Dr. Mario is just one of my favorite time
Oh,
wasty games. Like
Dr.
I
Mario.
will go through phases where I play Dr. Mario just nonstop. Not
So
nonstop.
cute.
Where I'll play it for like extended periods of time every single day for some amount of days. And then I'll go away from it for a while, and then I'll end up coming back because like it's just such a perfect little it's about, planning and puzzling, and at the
Yeah.
same time it's about reflex and repetition. It's just a sweet, cute little game. I did love Tetris, but Dr. Mario just has a bit more charm to it.
I agree. It has a lot. I mean, I'm not a big Tetris fan, but I'll play Dr. Mario. I like the music. It's so cute.
Mm.
Although I don't know if I trust Mario as a doctor. Like, why is he throwing so many pills at everyone?
That guy. Opioid crisis much?
Yeah. You heard it here, folks. Mario started the opioid crisis.
Yeah,
I love Dr.
Mario
Mario.
Irresponsibly overprescribes. Creating hyper-resistant bacteria and getting everyone hooked on opioids. Dr. Mario is a menace.
He's a menace.
They're gonna do one of those investigative 5-part podcasts about him.
Oh yeah, definitely canceled. So did you grow up on Nintendo systems?
So I had NES as a kid, and then I had a Game Boy.
Nice.
I never had a Genesis, but a neighbor did, and I absolutely loved going to his house and playing Genesis. And then
I loved my Genesis. I loved Sonic 2 was one of my favorite games for a very long time.
I can't go back to the Sonic games for the very specific reason. Like, anytime I try, I realize how badly designed they are. Because the problem with Sonic is the whole thing is they want you to go as fast as possible. Like, that's the whole thing. They're telling you, go fast, go fast, go fast. But if you go fast, you miss all the stuff.
You miss the stuff, yeah.
And it's like, well, then what do you want from me?
I try to play it like very balanced. Like, I try to go fast when I want to, and then I try to collect the rings so I can get the special levels. Yeah.
So then I got a Game Gear. That was my first big purchase.
Oh,
like,
nice.
I
really wanted a Game Gear growing up. Like, I saw the ads for it, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it seemed like the coolest thing ever. It kind of sucked. Like, it was not a good system.
It was not. Like, it had no battery power. Like, no, it was bad.
Nobody goes back to Game Gear games. Like, when you emulate Nintendo, sometimes Genesis, Super Nintendo. No one
even
is
the
like,
Game Boy.
Even Game Boy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No one is like, I gotta play the Incredible Hulk for Game Gear.
Oh no. No.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then I had my stepmom had an SNES that I played quite a bit, and I played a lot of Super Mario. I'm gonna say it wrong again. Super Mario World.
That's correct. Super Mario World. Super Mario Land is the Game Boy.
Okay, yeah. So I played a lot of Super Mario World on that. And then I got a N64, and then PlayStation 1, and then PlayStation 2, and then I got out of video games for like a long time. Like, I stayed at N64 and PlayStation 2 for like a very long time.
Wow.
And only maybe like I guess maybe it's like 8 years ago now, I got a PlayStation 3 and I got back into video games.
Oh, wow.
And that led me back to adventure games, and that leads me to where I am here now.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it went for me too, to be honest. Like, because I don't know, there was a time where I'm like, I'm over this. Well, and keep in mind, like, for us, or at least for me, when you grow up on like a computer and like DOS games and adventure games, that didn't stay popular. it
No,
came
right.
back, right? Like we have better computers and we're able to emulate stuff, but there was that little bit of time where it's like I can't play my games, it's not running on this
Yeah,
computer.
yeah.
What do I do? I'm not interested, and there's no new computer games coming out. I mean, we slowly watched the computer gaming section of every store
Yeah, just
leave.
disappear. Yeah,
And
yeah, and
maybe
then
The
you could only
Sims was
find
there,
it
and that was it,
and then you could only find computer games, on a spinner rack at a Michael's.
Yeah.
and it was like and it was like
Worst.
Jewel Hunter and
Ooh,
like
yeah, that's true.
the Amazon picture find.
Oh
It's
my
like
god.
these weird yeah.
Yeah, or like maybe not even sports games really, not for computer, but like The Sims and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's really only been recently where we've had like, I mean, not recently, but in the newish modern age where we can even revisit some of those things. So
Right.
I think even in just revisiting them, uh, I got back into adventure games.
Yeah. I took about 10 years away from video games. And then when I
Yeah,
came back, I was like, oh, I got to catch up. Some of these things are like, I didn't realize how sort of like far the medium had progressed. So I was still stuck in
yeah,
sort of the arcadey experience of PlayStation 2 and N64, where there were some story games, but a lot of the stuff you were playing, you just play like in rounds or matches.
yeah,
Um, and so I came back and I was like, oh my God, these Uncharted games are wild. And these Far Cry games and,
yeah,
uh, the Fallout games. Like I just started like absorbing all of these. And then, again, I was like, I remember I used to like these point and click games. I'm going to go back and play. And then, the rest is history. But
yeah.
okay, so do you have a game that is like your because you can't do this while playing adventure games because you have to pay a lot of attention. But do you have a game that's like your podcast game or your audiobook game or like
Oh,
game
like
that you
something where I need like a distraction, something I need to do.
a game you play while you're doing other things
Oh, while I'm doing other
or
things.
like listening to something or whatever.
I do have I think I do have games like that. Well, Stardew
Mhm.
is one of them.
Okay.
Stardew sometimes I can
Yes.
play with my eyes closed, to be honest with you. Oh, something oh my god. I mean, I used to be huge, and I kind of still am, into Warcraft. And
Oh wow. Okay.
Warcraft 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love Warcraft 2. I remember like taking the manual with me to school and reading it and being like, I'm so excited
Wow.
for these orcs. And I can kind of multitask in Warcraft. And I can kind of multitask in Stardew. I also can multitask in Civ, in some of the Civ games. And
Right.
several years ago I got really into, I think it was, oh god, I'm gonna mess up the Roman numerals. Was it Civ 5? Civ 6?
I don't know.
I gotta
I
look it up.
stopped playing Civ at like Civ 2.
Oh
I
really?
Yeah, I played some strategy games as when I was a lot younger. I played Civilization 2. I played um Lords of the Realm 2. It
Okay,
was called. Um
I remember that.
and I really liked them. And then anytime I tried to like update and play newer strategy games, there was just too much going on. There's just like they'd gotten so utterly complex
Oh yeah,
that
they
I was
are.
just like Crusader Kings is you have to take a college course to understand how to play one round of
Yeah.
Crusader Kings.
And
So
honestly, that's not typically my jam at all. Like
yeah,
typically I will even avoid board games with too many rules. Like set
yeah,
me
yeah,
up with
yeah.
some categories or something. That's what I want to play. But like for whatever reason, so it is Civ 6 in 2016 that
Okay,
came out and I got really into it. I kind of dealt with the learning curve and I really liked it. Like I had never played
okay,
a turn-based strategy game before cuz I grew up on Warcraft, which is real-time strategy. So I had to
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
really learn like what to do on my turn. Oh, and we're completely glazing over some of my like other favorite games from completely different genre. but I like the Final Fantasy games a lot. So this is going to be a controversial take. It's going to be a hot take.
Okay.
But I love Final Fantasy VIII. It is one of my favorites.
Okay.
I mean, I like the classics too. Like I like the popular ones that people like. I like 7. But man, there is just something insane about Final Fantasy VIII, and I love it for its just absurdity. It was one of the first JRPGs I ever played, so I think it just holds a special place in
I
my heart.
only started playing the Final Fantasies like a year and a half ago, and I just started playing them in order. And I started with 1,
Nice,
and moved to
wow.
2, and then 3, and then 4, and I stopped at 7 because 7 is just such a big experience.
It
I
is
don't think
huge,
I was
yeah.
fully prepared for it, and I've gone back to it a couple times, and every time, like, I just there's something about Final Fantasy 7 that I think playing it for the first time in I guess I started it in 2023. Playing it for the first time in 2023, it does not have the magic
Yeah.
that I think it had for people when they first played it. So it feels sacrilegious to say that I have not loved Final Fantasy VII.
I understand.
But I
No, I do
haven't.
understand that.
I keep finding myself bored in a way that I don't think I did by Final Fantasy 5 and 6.
Okay.
Because there's like a retro charm to them. And there is that sort of turn your brain off and turn on an audiobook, or not turn your brain off, but like turn your brain away from the game and turn on an audiobook while you just like grind your way through. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I definitely now that you like say that, like, oh yeah, I definitely will grind in like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, and then just do other things
So
while I'm grinding.
I liked Final Fantasies 1 and 2. 3 I wasn't so hot on, 4 I wasn't so hot on, but then 5 and 6 I loved.
Oh good.
And then 7 I've had, it's been a real roller coaster. There are moments where I'm like, that was so cool. But more often I'm just kind of like, I think forcing my way through it so that I can get to 8.
I mean, keep in mind that there is a graphic style change there. 7 is kind of this grand big deal experience, and if you don't like 7, I don't think you're gonna like 8, but I could be wrong. You might also enjoy it for its absurdity and very bad story. Very, very bad. But man, there is something about a JRPG that just takes me away from reality and puts me in this just amazing adventure. I mean, I don't want to say that they're full-on adventure games. So kind of like we were talking before, it does make you feel like you're on an adventure, even if it's not the genre, you know?
So if Final Fantasy is kind of your genre obsession, what do you think mine is?
Oh, you mean like the franchise?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Is it your big franchise obsession? What do you think mine is?
Ooh, that's a good question. Clearly clearly it is
Clearly. This should be this is not something that I am that I've been very public on the internet about this before, but I don't know if you know this.
Is it Pokemon?
It is Pokemon. Yes, I absolutely adore Pokemon, and I've played every Pokemon game.
Nice.
I have a Pokemon Home account in which before Sword and Shield, no, after Sword and Shield. So before, what was the next one? Scarlet and Violet. I had every Pokemon. I had a full living Pokedex. Every single Pokemon from every generation I had a copy of in my Pokemon Home. And then Sword and Shield I wasn't like incredibly, like I was really excited for, and I wasn't incredibly hot on. And then Pokemon Legends Arceus seemed like a really interesting shakeup of the franchise, but whatever reason, it didn't capture me. And then Scarlet and Violet I played maybe 2 hours of, and that's it. So I've fallen off it a little bit. I assume I'll go back, but like as a kid, I played the Game Boy games just over and over and over and over. Red and blue, and then a
Aw.
little bit of gold and silver. I just played them so much. And then later, when I said, like, when I got back into video games about 10 years ago, I played the 3DS games also just multiple times, just like in a row. Like I'd play
Nice.
X and Y and then finish them and then play X and Y again. So have you ever played Pokemon?
I've played, not many,
Okay.
but I must say that I love Oddish. He is my favorite. He's my favorite little boy. Oh, he's
Gen
so
1.
cute. Yeah, Gen 1, yeah. But yeah, I played a couple for the Game Boy. I emulated it. They're
Okay.
very cute. They're actually kind of perfect for me because it's kind of a collecty thing. It's got a little bit of an RPG element. So I did like it. And then I definitely played a lot of Pokemon Go. We're not even gonna get into that. That was an
Oh my
embarrassing
god,
time in my
yeah.
life.
I played a lot of Pokemon Go.
Yeah. And then there was one that came out. It was a little while ago now. Gosh. I don't remember which one it was, but I think it was for the PS3. It had to
Wouldn't
be,
have been
right?
for the PS3.
Or maybe it would have been, it's got to be PS4 then.
Pokemon games have only ever come out on Nintendo.
I'm going to look it up. Oh, really? Okay, that
Yes.
helps. Okay, so it had to be, well, gosh, it had to be the Switch then. Let me see.
If it had to be the Switch, then you're talking about Let's Go
Monster.
Pikachu and Eevee.
Oh, it's that.
Okay.
It is that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
First try. Yeah, it was sort of like an update and sort of a simplifying of the first two of Red and Blue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With some internet connectivity stuff.
Right. I think that's why I liked it. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's an update and it looks nice and I like it and it's cozy. It's very, very cozy. So I haven't played a lot of Pokemon, but I do in general like Pokemon, if that makes sense. Like I like
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I just like the whole franchise. I like the designs. I don't know. I like Oddish. He's so cute.
If anyone wants to hear me talking about Pokemon, I did a podcast for
Oh my gosh.
about a year where I forced two of my funny friends to watch every Pokemon movie in a row. And season 2 was supposed to be us doing it again, and they both abandoned me.
No!
I wanted to watch all the Pokemon movies again and talk, like, I thought that would be so funny, and no, they abandoned me. And they're like, I will not watch another Pokemon movie.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think I'd want to do it either.
But the podcast is called The Very Worst, if you want to go check it out.
The Very Worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch the anime. It's pretty cute. He's adorable.
Okay, another one of your favorite games, non-adventure games of all time.
Man, I'm still. I actually kind of skipped over a really big one because I don't think people think about it because it's way off in terms of even related genre. It's Mortal Kombat.
Oh, you're a fighting game person. Okay.
Yeah. And I would say that I'm actually not a fighting game person at all. I am a Mortal Kombat person though. So like if I try to play like Street Fighter, I will muck it up. I can't get used to the controls. I don't even get me started on things like Tekken. I think it's terrible.
Okay.
I very, very much like I like the old school Mortal Kombat because it's one of the first games I had on my Genesis. My brother bought it for, quote, me. He did not. Obviously, he bought it for him. Yeah. You know, and he put the blood code in. And I was traumatized by it for a very long time. And then later in life, I rediscovered it on, I think I rediscovered it, whatever Deadly Alliance was on. And I think that was the PlayStation 2. And then I played Deception. And then I played Armageddon, and I played X, and which is Mortal Kombat, the new one, and I love all of them. I love the Mortal Kombat games. I especially love them on the consoles, on the newer consoles. There was a time in my life, Matt, where I wanted to try to like play pro, learn how to play.
Oh my god,
Mortal Kombat like a pro player.
I thought the same thing about Pokemon. I almost did it. Yeah. So what happened?
I gave up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard, man.
The people who do that stuff professionally are really, really, really good.
Yeah, they're
Like,
really good.
unbelievably good.
And like, don't get me wrong. I think I am a better than average Mortal Kombat player.
Yeah.
But I would have to practice all the time, and I just don't have time for that. I mean, these pro players are amazing. Just absolutely amazing.
They dedicate their life to it. There's no
Yeah.
way I could do that with Pokemon. Like, I just could not do it.
No, absolutely not. So I'm wondering if we are including this is going to be a good question. Are we including survival horror, or is that too much like adventure games?
I feel like survival horror is something we are going to talk about on the show at some point.
Yeah. To me, I do lump it in to adventure.
It depends if you're shooting things or not. I think if you're shooting things, we're getting away from adventure games. If you're not shooting things, like the Amnesia games, I would consider more adventure, while let's say Resident Evil, I would consider more action.
It's so interesting because, like, I was gonna throw out Clock Tower by the Super Famicom. I love that game.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's not an adventure. It is an adventure game, you guys. Like, it's set up like an adventure game. It has survival elements, but it is so different in tone than any adventure game like I've ever played. So it doesn't feel like one. Because I think, like, when we talk about adventure games, like, look at the games that pop up. They're kind of comedic, and if they're not comedic, they're at least lighthearted. If they're not lighthearted, then they're like a mystery, or a drama, like Grim Fandango.
Yeah.
It's very rare that, like, you have like this survival element. Even in games like Frambo, which is horror as well. So I almost like threw out Clock Tower because it's so different to me. Even though it is an adventure game.
I hear you. I mean, I do think we should talk about Clock Tower at some point on this show. So, okay. I'm going to throw... So, what would you say is, like... If adventure games is your favorite genre of video games, what would you say is your second favorite genre?
It's definitely, like, side scroll / platformer, and I put those kind of together because a lot of times they sometimes will hold hands, right? Like, there's a lot of platforming in Aladdin for the Genesis, which, again, one of my favorite games of all time. The Lion King for the Genesis, one of my favorites. All the really intensely difficult games.
It's
I'm like,
so hard. The games that drove everyone crazy as kids. Yeah.
No, I love it. I love those kind of games. Man, even playing today, The Lion King, sometimes I'll stream it every now and then. I'm like, nope, I don't even want to fuck with this. This end is so hard that, like, my hand hurts. So yeah, I would say side scroller / platformer. So those are the games kind of like your Aladdins, and then also when you get into N64, because that's a hard question. It's a hard thing to distinguish, because it's like Banjo Kazooey and Mario, they're not side scrollers, but
they are platformers.
And Aladdin is a side scroller and a bit of a platformer. So it's those kind of games, you guys. I love those kind of games.
Do you play any modern ones? Like, do you play I know a lot of those games these days are more like puzzle platformers.
They can be. Yeah. I have played a few. I try to play, like, new things every now and then. I guess this is so funny. I guess the newest thing that I've been playing in terms of, like, a platformer is I will still play, like, Fall Guys every now and then.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll just boot it up and just start going, because it's so easy to do. It's just like, all right, I want some platforming. In terms of side scrollers, they don't really... I think it's tough to find kind of a retro style platformer. I remember I played Owlboy at the time that came. I don't know if you remember that. This is a while ago now.
Yeah, I do.
Like 2015, 2016. And I really liked that. But man, I actually do struggle to think about modern side scroll / platformers. And I guess it's because in terms of gaming today, like, the most popular things, if you really think about it, are kind of those, like, vast open world games, like your God of War and the oh god, are they called Skyrim and like those
Skyrim,
kind of games?
yes.
Yeah, Dragon
And
Age.
Skyrim is a game that I have put 300 hours into throughout my life.
Listen, I tried to play it once, and then I stopped, and that and you'd think I wouldn't because I'm actually one of my other favorite games of all time is Breath of the Wild.
Right.
So you would think I veer into some of those games, right? But I never could. I think Skyrim at the time, it was just too big for me. It
Well,
seemed vast. It seemed like, oh god, I don't
yeah.
know what I'm doing.
I totally understand that. So I played Morrowind when I was young,
Yeah.
which is Elder Scrolls 3, and I got really into it and I explored like that whole map and I got really far. I ended up getting locked out of the main quest by like a bug.
Oh
I
no.
couldn't.
Oh
So like
no.
I've never actually finished Morrowind. I've gotten like 90% of the way through. But during the time that I wasn't really playing video games, the one real exception was Skyrim. I
Yeah.
had a pirated copy of I own it legally
Aw.
now, everybody, but I had a pirated copy of Skyrim on like my shitty laptop, and I would just turn the graphics down and I would play Skyrim for hours. um, but and I've gone back to it a couple times, but you know, it's sort of the game. It's sort of game once you have hit a certain point in it, it's kind of like, all right, I've gotten it. I got
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's kind of like Stardew Valley, right? Like for
Mhm.
me, once I hit a point, I kind of stop. And you don't have to stop. There's always things that you could
Yeah.
be doing.
But I will say that feeling of being overwhelmed because something is too big happened to me between those two games. I tried to play Oblivion,
Mhm.
and I guess I just wasn't ready for another open world game, and it just felt too big, and like there
Yeah.
was too much going on, and I bounced off of it.
Yeah.
But okay, do you know my favorite other? Maybe you already know this. Do you know my favorite genre, the second favorite genre next to adventure games?
Oh gosh. Now I don't know because I'm going to have to. Oh gosh, now I don't know. Is it like no, that doesn't make any sense.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say like some kind of RPG. I don't know if
Oh,
that's right.
you know, like I said, I played a lot of Skyrim. I recently played all the uh Final Fantasy games. I
Yeah.
played Fallout New Vegas is one of my favorite games of all time. But no, I wouldn't say I'm a huge RPG guy.
Okay. Yeah, and I was also gonna I was also thinking like it just left my brain. What was it? I know what it's not. Like I know it's
Okay.
not racing games.
No, I hate racing games. I'm not a big fan of fighting
Yeah,
games.
just gonna say it's not fighting games.
Mm-mm.
Is it simulation games?
No. So I am just I am as obsessive about Metroidvanias as I am about
Oh,
adventure games.
right.
I will play every Metroidvania that you put in front of me. So like I played Hollow Knight to like 100%. Well,
Right.
actually like they had those expansions. So I played Hollow Knight to like 125% completion or whatever. Like there's these things at the end where there were boss rushes and you or like fighting a boss where you had to it was like a harder version of the boss and then one where you had to do it perfectly.
Mhm.
It was like some of the most challenging shit I've ever done, and I did it all in Hollow Knight.
Nice.
I played the Guacameles.
Oh yeah, I remember. Oh my god, you're like bringing up
Yeah,
like memories for me now.
the Ori games are both really good. Ori and
Yeah.
the what are they called? Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Ori and the
I think I have one on
it's like
Steam actually. They look
the
beautiful.
Blind Forest is what it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, and the locomotion in those games is really great. You can just like kind of fling yourself across the entire map so quickly and so smoothly. Um, there's a game called Yoku's Island Express that is a pinball Metroidvania where you play basically like a dung beetle who's rolling a ball around, and you cling to it and then jump in like these pinball things, and that's how you fight enemies, and that's how you travel around the map and solve like little puzzles.
Yeah.
There's a game called Lone Fungus where you're just a little mushroom, and it is such a precision Metroidvania platformer that I don't even know if I recommend it. It's so hard.
Oh
But
God.
I really, really loved it. There's I'll say one more, because I could go on about
Sure.
Metroidvanias for a while, but there's one game that does not get the love that I think it should in the Metroidvania space, and I reviewed the demo of it once for I think back when I wrote for adventuregamers.com.
Mhm.
It's called Unbound Worlds Apart, and you play this like cute little monk guy with like a
Okay.
little fire on his head, and you don't have any combat abilities, but you can create a like a rift in dimensions. Like you can create this like circular portal around yourself, and
Mhm.
you use it, and the physics inside that portal are often different, or even the physics or the reality are different inside that portal than outside. So you will turn on the portal, jump into a platform, turn off the portal to get to the next platform, or you'll
Yeah.
turn on the portal to reverse gravity, fall upside down, then turn off the portal to jump over a thing that you could not have jumped over on your own.
Mhm.
And then it's got all the normal stuff like double jump and whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's called Unbound Worlds Apart, and it is a really, really clever and really cool, underrated Metroidvania.
You know, I knew that you liked Metroidvanias. I don't know why that didn't. I think here's what happened, Matt.
Mhm.
I looked up Pokemon, and now a
Yeah.
bunch of Pokemon is on my monitor, and that's
Yeah,
all I
yeah,
could think about.
yeah.
I'm like, surely it's Pokemon.
There's one place where Pokemon and Metroidvanias cross over, and it's a game called Monster Sanctuary,
Oh, I remember. I think I remember that.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not like it is not the sum of its parts,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
You know what genre that I guess it's a genre, but it's a very like it's very uh eclectic genre is
Okay.
like the simulator genre.
Yes.
So when I say that though, like I feel like I could be talking about a lot of different things. So for example, I like The Sims every now and then, like I'll
Sure.
binge it, but what I'm really interested in, and this is Stardew Valley's fault, is those kind of weird life/work simulations. So like where I'm going with this is because I like Stardew Valley, I played Graveyard Keeper.
Okay. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I loved it. I don't know how to
Interesting.
describe these games. Like they're not quite simulations. They're just like they're like maintenance games almost. Like why do I want to maintain this little thing? I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I really like it.
Well,
And on that same note, I over lockdown I got really into Animal Crossing. And
oh.
this is a genre, you know, where you're gardening and you're like taking care of stuff, you're doing maybe little
Yeah.
mini puzzles. That's not a genre I was looking for back in the day. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, Stardew kind of got me into that, and then I've been kind of seeking out like those kind of games. Like I really like, I don't know, a maintenance game. Just maintenance
You know,
games.
the only real game like that super pulled me in. Well, I want to say that's also something that pulled me and you in about Dreams in the Witch House.
That's true. Yes, that's true. It's
Is
that's
the
this
life
life sim. Yeah.
elements of it. But the only other game besides Stardew Valley that is like that pulled me in that way was Terraria. I spent
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of time in Terraria.
I remember Terraria. Kind of
Yeah.
has that little Minecraft aesthetic going on with it.
Yeah, like a little
Yeah.
pixel art 2D Minecraft kind of thing.
Yeah.
With but with a lot more of like a lot more robust fantasy world to
Yeah.
explore, right? Like I feel like Minecraft is less about the monsters and crazy
Right.
worlds that you find, and things that you collect, and it's more about what you can build.
Yeah.
Where Terraria is definitely about like the adventure you go on.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I'm even thinking about Stardew, and that's not even as life sim as like
Yeah.
even Dreams in the Witch House, because like literally you have to eat now to
Yeah.
survive, or he'll complain at you. And I wonder if my love for that, I'm just wondering if it's sparked because of Quest for Glory, because
Yeah.
because I was so into Quest for Glory 5, which really is a hybrid game. And like in Quest for Glory 5, you have to eat. You will get hungry.
Right.
Your health will go down. You have to sleep. That's a big one. Like you have to go to sleep. I guess you do in Stardew as well, but there's less emphasis on like you're hungry or you will die or you're sick. You know what I mean? Like Dreams of the Witch House, you kept getting sick.
Your hunger doesn't go. Yeah, you don't. Your hunger doesn't go down or affect your health in Stardew. You just lose energy, and then you can't keep
Right.
working.
Yeah, it has like an energy meter as opposed to like like a hunger meter and a sanity meter and things of it'd actually be pretty funny though if Stardew had a sanity meter.
That
Oh, these ostriches, they're just driving me insane.
yeah. Have you ever heard the story about how Machiavelli, the writer Niccolo Machiavelli, who wrote The Prince,
Mhm.
when he do you know the story about how he wrote The Prince?
I don't.
So he was a diplomat and not he wasn't like an elected politician or anything, but he was like the uh, counselor to a bunch of royal people, right?
Mhm.
He was just like in the royal court for a long time until the uh the what do you call it, the crown that he was serving was overthrown, and
Mhm.
then he was exiled, and he was exiled to the countryside, to a farm, but he hated it so much that he spent his time writing The Prince so that he could give it as a gift to the dude who overthrew the throne and kicked him out, so that maybe that guy would let him back into political life. So I've often
Wow.
had this thought about, wouldn't that make an incredible Stardew Valley game where like you are Machiavelli,
Like that's the story. Yeah.
and you are thrown out of court, and you can choose to spend your time gardening and making friends with the locals and like accepting your new life, or you can choose to spend time writing your book to try and get back into the good graces of the royal
That's
court.
amazing.
And yeah, like you have this sanity meter. Like, are you what's going to drive you more insane? And like, how do you survive? This is a thing that I think about. I've thought about so many times, and I really wish I could make games, because I would absolutely make that game.
I think about that too. Like I want to make this game with you now. Or I want to make the Carol Reed games.
Oh my god, we're going to talk about those in a few minutes. Before we close this segment down, are there any other games you just have to mention?
I think I mentioned the very big ones, but what I was thinking of, like if you were to ask me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if anyone were to ask me what is my favorite non-adventure game, really the first, like just offhand, the first thing that comes to mind is Banjo Kazooey. Which I think is very interesting. I can't stop thinking about it. I want to go play it. It's so cute. It just brings me back to like a better time. It's really engaging. Gotta go play Banjo. If you have not played Banjo Kazooey, you guys, you gotta.
Here's a recommendation
from Adventure Game
the hot
Enthusiast.
New game.
What would your answer be? It's like your number one I assume it's gonna be like Pokemon.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it would have to probably be like Stardew, but I feel like, oh god, it might be Fallout New Vegas, because it just has it all. It made me, I felt it, like I got addicted to it. I was moved by it. I was like, everything that I wanted in a game was in Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay, let's throw up some music, and then we'll come back, do our last stupid segment, and then get out of here.
I want to play Banjo Kazooey now. Welcome back. Welcome back to Save Your Game. I'm Pushing Up Roses. With me, as always, Matt Ockamp.
Hey! And, we haven't gotten feedback on this segment yet, so we're just going to keep doing it until...
Keep going, Wayne. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to rank so if you hadn't tuned in, we're going to rank every adventure game of all time, even the ones that we've never played. Yep. I have a list of a cold list of every adventure game, like roughly every adventure game that's ever been made. It's missing some of the freeware ones and some of the remake. But I have 3,200 some games here, and I'm just gonna, with a random number generator, we're gonna pull them up. Pull up 5 random ones and add them to our list. So, are you ready, Pushing Up Roses, for our first game?
I am so ready for more Carol Reed games. Go!
Speaking of which, right before we do it, I played a Carol Reed game because of our last segment. It's pretty fun.
They're so simple.
They are just, They're just
we're going to talk about them more. We got to talk about them more on the next episode because I've been watching Let's Plays on them and I have things to say. I'm just saying.
Okay, so this one, I feel like I should have played it because it's by Cloak and Dagger Games, which are good. It is Legend of Hand.
Let me look that up because I like Cloak and Dagger a lot. Legend of Hand?
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a fighting game.
What an interesting game. Yeah,
it's like partly fighting game, partly adventure game.
Wow,
it has a really interesting art style.
I was just gonna say I've never seen an adventure game quite look like this before.
Huh.
Well, here's the thing about this though.
Yeah,
I gotta put it below Frambo. I just gotta.
You gotta put it below Frambo. Yeah, I mean it's definitely below Frambo. I regret that we put Krabat and the Secret of the Sorbian King above Amos Green's Final Repose, but
I do too. Maybe we should change that.
All right, so how about this? How about we go back on our... We'll try not to do this very often, but why don't we go back on it?
Yeah.
Here's my thought. I'm going to put, now that I've seen the Carol Reed games in action and I love them, I say we put Amos Green's Final Repose.
Oh my god.
I say we put that at number 2, and then we put Legend of Hand at number 3, above Krabat and the Secret of the Sorbian King.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. Okay. Nope, I agree with you.
All right.
And this may happen, you guys, because sometimes we're gonna play these games.
And then have to go back and be like, wait, that one was good.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Here's one.
Uh-oh.
So 859 is our next one, and it is the horror game Scratches.
Oh my god, Scratches!
Have you played Scratches?
I have.
What? All right, I know where.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was very scary.
It was so scary. I have never been so scared by a game. Now, the gameplay's not amazing. There is a lot of really whack stuff in that game that you're just kind of like, I don't know what to do. Where am I supposed to click? Where am I supposed to go?
I know. I know. It's a little nebulous feeling.
Yeah. So I think for that reason, it can't go above Frambo. But
I would not put it above Frambo.
Holy cow, is Scratches a good game. It is.
No, I like Scratches a lot.
Okay, Scratches at number 2. What do you think? Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Scratches are number 2. Yeah.
Number 2 is the hot spot today. Okay, yeah, Scratches is terrifying. If you guys have never played Scratches, my God, it is.
Man, I felt so tense the whole time.
Yeah, it is so scary. Okay, here's a game I've never played. So this is a low number. We're at 214.
Okay.
I've never played this game, but I know of it. It is Blue Force.
Okay, that sounds familiar though.
It is a Jim Walls game.
Oh no.
That he made with Tsunami Games.
Oh, this game.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is gonna go pretty low,
it is
guys.
FMV. It is FMV. But it is Jim Walls doing another basically police quest.
Yes.
Okay, where are you thinking? I'm thinking.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking low, but not bottom.
I don't think it's on the bottom. It's above weird. It's above weird.
I think it's above Wild Wild West, the Steel Assassin.
Definitely is above that too.
Okay,
yeah.
So this is where I'm looking. Is it above The Fan? The other FMV game that looks like you just torture a woman.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe a hot take, but I would put it above The
Fan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's going to go above The Fan. Does it go above Krabat and the Secret of the Sorbian King? I think no. I think just because Jim Walls, it can't.
Fair.
Okay. All right.
We're being very fair,
I think we are too, to these games we've never played. Okay. 278 is our next game.
Oh no.
All right. What do you think about Hell, a cyberpunk thriller?
Oh boy. Oh my God. I kind of like it.
Have you played it?
No, but I definitely know of it, and it kind of reminds me. It very much reminds me of Sanitarium a little bit.
It's got a Sanitarium feel. It's also, but a little sillier than Sanitarium, it looks like.
Yeah, and Take-Two Interactive, I feel like they have done games that I do like. Like, I've seen Take-Two Interactive before.
Okay, but I think the game was originally made by Game Tech, right?
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I kind of like the look of this game. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna also say that it's probably not. I think it's gonna be one of those games where you just take it how it is.
Okay.
Like you get what you're looking at, and it's probably gonna be really cheesy and maybe a little grating.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm getting a lot of I have no mouth and I want to scream. Is that it?
And I must scream.
I have no mouth and I must scream vibes. Except for if there's some cyberpunk stuff.
Listen,
yeah,
it's so interesting looking.
Okay,
it really is. Like, I don't want to put it like near-ish the bottom, but I don't think it's definitely going.
It's
above...
gonna go below Legend of Hand, right?
Yes, it'll go below that. It'll go above the Wild Wild West, what the fuck ever that was.
So, is it gonna go above or below Krabat and the Secret of the Sorbian King?
Fucking I'm putting it above.
All right. Okay, it is our new number 6. All right,
for interest's sake.
We got one more.
All right, hit me with it.
Okay, all right, come on, give us something we've played.
I mean, at least we played Scratches.
All right, we got 1655. It is Elena Displaced Reality.
Oh my God,
one.
there's so many
Elena
weird. Yeah, it's my favorite game.
All right, it's got a review on Adventure Gamers.
It's got a bad review.
Oh, really bad, underwhelming. Okay, it's like a walking sim.
Yeah.
That is, I guess. It's one of those ones where it's like, oh, how do you know what you're seeing is really reality?
Oh my God.
We've all played like a million of those, right?
Yeah. But it's like not. Here's the thing. Like this kind of falls into almost like mediocre, right? It's not bad. It's not good. So where do we place games like that are just kind of like, eh? This was
that's
so
hard.
underwhelming, but it's also not egregiously bad, you know?
Yeah, and it's got a positive. It's got 80% on Steam, so
On
it's
Steam,
I
yeah.
think you're right. I think it is like it looks like one of those games that's just, in our professional opinion, um, one of those games that's just not in any way remarkable.
Right.
So I think,
It also should be noted that this is very much it seems that they're pushing VR for this
yeah,
game. So I wonder if
I
the VR experience would be different.
so I think it goes above the offensive games.
I do too. I think it goes above Blue Force.
Yeah, me too. And I think it is comfortable somewhere around Krabat, because I think that's what that looks like too. Just like a
Agreed.
very mediocre, like that is mediocre point and click. This is mediocre walking simulator. So, what do you say? It's
Man, it's tough.
above or below Krabat?
I would actually put it below Krabat because I'm
Okay.
sensing a lack of like characters and like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think there's more
Yeah,
going on
Krabat at
in
least
Krabat.
has some like weirdness to it.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. All right, I got it. All right, so here's our list right now. Number 1, best adventure game of all time, Frambeau, followed by Scratches. Then we have Amos Green's Final Repose, Legend of Hand, Hell, a cyberpunk thriller, Krabat and the Secret of the Sorbian King, Elena, Displaced Reality, Blue Force, The Fan, Wild Wild West, The Steel Assassin, and the worst adventure game of all time, Weird, Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. That's our list of 11 adventure games right now.
hmm
What do you
That
think?
is, I mean, I think we're doing great.
Yeah, we're doing so good.
We're doing so good.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in.
I like our new segments.
It's they're so good.
They're so good. They're so exciting.
I hope our audience doesn't cancel this segment. I like it.
Please don't cancel our segment. We like
is-
laughing at weird names.
It's so like indulgent and stupid, but I love it. So do you have anything you want people to check out in the meantime before we come back next week?
Nah.
Check out Adventure Game Hotspot at adventuregamehotspot.com. We're part of the Adventure Game Hotspot network.
There's that. That's true.
Always cool stuff going on there. There's actually a review of the Crimson Diamond that just went up today.
Nice. Well, also, if you want to check out my stream, by this time the recordings of the Crimson Diamond will still be up. And
Cool.
I think my review will be up too. So kind of look out for that if you're interested in what we said earlier about the Crimson Diamond.
And if you want to check out any of my stuff, there's nothing. So
There's
no,
nothing.
go back and listen to my old podcast. That's what you got from me.
Yeah. That's it. Listen to the Pokemon podcast, you guys.
yeah. So in the meantime, there's only one thing left to say, and that is that podcasts is art.
But also, there's another thing to say.
Oh, okay. I'm
And
all
that
ears.
is artists suffer.
Bye, everybody.